Is there anything that you would look to, you personally, not anybody else, not other pundits, not even perhaps family members, that you would look to say, if I see that, I will reevaluate?
If I had some medical condition that emerged, if the doctors came to me and said, you got this problem, that problem.
The beautiful pick of the week, U.S. Representative Blake Moore, Debbie Dingell, Jane Schakowsky were caught sleeping during late-night committee sessions working on President Trump's agenda bill. Joe, this would be okay if these sleepy lawmakers actually did any work.
Yeah.
But they don't. They don't have a right to fall asleep at work.
No, I think this is the Biden legacy that politicians think that they don't have to be conscious to do their jobs.
I am so sick of all of this Joe Biden consternation. What Joe Biden did or didn't do, what reporters did or didn't do.
And that was no mystery even to left-wing and so-called mainstream reporters who were not fooled, but chose willful blindness instead of honest reporting, and that you were part of it. How do you respond?
It's a tough and fair question. I would say
I'm looking forward to reading it because I want to see if people like Jake Tapper, hold themselves and their networks like CNN accountable for how much they didn't report on, because they're all complicit in not calling a thing in regards to President Biden.
All he's doing is hawking his book on the CNN, and he's flanked by other people, Ryan Stelter and Van Jones, also hawking his book. When did CNN become a place to hawk your book? Is Wolf Blitzer coming out with a cookbook?
I wanted to call the book Haunted because the thesis of the book was he's haunted by his son Beau, he's haunted by the Hunter stuff, by the Obama comparisons, by the idea that Trump could win again. And they wanted to call the book Soul Man or Shadowboxer. And I said no.
I got my glasses in. Well, I tell you what, Dark Brandon's coming back. He's here.
Seems to me entirely inappropriate that at this moment in time, when President Biden is dealing with a serious and aggressive form of cancer.
The country has moved on. Joe Biden has moved on. And why are we talking about an old man who has cancer, prostate cancer? Why are you kicking someone when they are down?
It's just fun to watch them not only continue to push the book in light of this difficult news, but to actually frame this difficult news as perhaps even more of a reason to buy this book.
I'm writing another book.
Good.
Like 6,000 people are. I got to write a presidential memoir.
Oh, boy.
But they told me they had to do it within a year. No one's ever done one in a year. Will you help me out?
No, that's a long time. It's too short. It's too short.
Joy could be your ghostwriter. She'd add a little
color to it all.
Because we had a notice. I could have helped them that night. I felt like a fraud. I felt like I let them down.
Now, I do not accept that I was part of a cover-up. I do not accept that I was just providing cover for Joe Biden.
What happens if they were to go and arrest these members, or if they would try to sanction them here in the House of Representatives?
They'll find out.
If you're telling me that hundreds of people knew that he was not able to do his job, then where the hell was everybody?
You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman.
There hasn't been a fair primary for the Democrats since 2008. Are they not also a threat to democracy? Yes. We often hear.
Fair enough. That is, yeah, I'm not going to argue with that point.
One of the things that emerged was that there were two Bidens.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
There are Republicans who are peddling conspiracy theories. And
I've heard that same rhetoric for years. People are dying.
I understand the excitement over an insidious Democratic cover-up about Joe Biden's mental decline. The thing is, though, it was a terrible cover-up.
One was the fine Biden, serviceable, adequate.
Well in front of time. And again, and now I'm standing next to the president again, next to a collapsed bridge here.
So folks, let them know we care. You have all the details, and by the way,
well, it means you knew that it was really bad and you're pretending otherwise, versus you're deluding yourself.
40 years later to the month, in January of 2012, actually 2013, no, wait a minute, we got elected in 2012, January 13.
no one's intimidated by this dude. No one.
Gavin Newsom is doing podcasts trying to see how do you deal with this manosphere, which is incredibly important if you're trying to figure out how to get young men back, for example, to vote for Democrats. Well, how do you talk to them?
And we need to be humble about that, and we need to have some grace, and we need to understand why.
And then, look, he's blinking, and then eventually the camera guy, realizing that he's signaling him, so he gets appalled, leans back, camera comes down, and then we're back to this. I'll do this for you, you do this for me a little. So he's saying whatever he's going to say. There it is, see? They couldn't hold him back. He's like, I'm not on film. Oh, I'm not, nope. Bring my hands up, bring him up, bring him up, bring him up, bring him up. He's playing with us.
And the other one was a non-functioning Biden, and that's the one we saw the night of the debate.
And what happened was...
No, as House Democrats, we're going to look forward.
J.B. Pritzker made a tremendously combative and strong speech up in New Hampshire the other day.
I've been with the President of the United States many times. He is on the ball. The man knows more than most of us have forgotten. All this stuff about his health or, commentary that people are making in books, frankly, that's very backward looking.
If they believe that Joe Biden was selfish, if they believe Joe Biden should have dropped out, perhaps he should have. But that is not the question right now. That is in the rearview mirror. What are you doing?
And that's the one we saw some clips of here and there that you just showed.
The leader of the woman who should have been the governor of Georgia, an African-American woman.
And that non-functioning Biden, the one that lost his train of thought in a significant way, not in the way just that every human loses their train of thought, but in a way that shows that he's having trouble articulating his very views.
It was President, my boss.
I want somebody to tell me, well, when did you know it was bad? If you knew, why did you wait?
He is absolutely the same Joe Biden we all have known. I was busy doing the connection and the voter registration, and so
you
I
didn't
can't
see signs of
speak to
decline?
that directly.
Trying to figure out what the most significant and consequential role I can play consistent with what I've done in the past.
And the one who forgot the name of close aides, who was not able to come up with George Clooney's name, didn't seem to recognize him, all that sort of thing. That non-functioning Biden was, according to our reporting, showed up as far back as 2015.
It's apparently a Senate rite of passage. You're not officially sworn in until Delaware Joe has felt up one female member of your immediately family.
What would you do? I mean,
They'll
what
find out. It's a red line. It's very clear.
In this name of compassion.
I mean, everybody's experimenting. Pete Buttigieg is going to Iowa.
Well, I'm glad to have a president who can ride a bicycle.
Would the party have been better off if he had just not run for re-election?
Right now, with the benefit of hindsight, I think most people would agree that that's the case.
I'm not interested. I'm just not, as a taxpayer, not just governor, I'm not interested in funding failure anymore.
Obviously, in 2019, 2020, there were other moments like that. Most of his campaign staff and others would say, like, he's 78, he's 79, he has senior moments, but he's fine, he's fine, he's fine.
Treated with dignity is who we are as Americans. That's what it's about. I mean it.
So all of which is to say that this was a deterioration, this was a progression, and look,
anyway,
knowing what I know now, obviously, I feel tremendous humility about my coverage. That Laura Trump interview, for example.
It's apparently a Senate rite of passage. You're not officially sworn in until Delaware Joe has felt up one female member of your immediately family. Immediate family. Here's what's so...
Etc.
We'll get to that.
She saw something that I did not see at the time. 100%. And I own that.
This way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to... Anyway.
I did ask Joe Biden to be transparent about his health records in an interview in 2020. I did ask him about the fact that voters
But then he wasn't.
thought that he was not transparent at all. No.
He promised you that
no.
he would be transparent about his health records, and then he wasn't. And when you sat with him again,
at all.
including 1 month after the Jackie Walorski thing, you didn't ask him about it. You didn't follow up on the fact that he was falling up the stairs, that he was losing his train of thought regularly, that he was slurring, that he was incomprehensible, that he was getting lost on the White House lawn. You sat right across from him and you asked none of that, notwithstanding the fact that he had promised you he would be fully transparent about his health issues.
That's true,
but you not.
Nope. Done. It's gone.
The gaffe issue is over because.
Over. So over.
What do you think about the fact that President Trump?
When is Jake Tapper going to write a book about the cognitive decline of the person who is in charge right now?
And they should stop hiring all these frickin' Trump sycophant MAGA people and promoting them just to say outrageous, outlandish lies. And
from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa.
But you covered the Biden presidency aggressively throughout the 4 years, and you didn't cover mental acuity hardly at all. I mean, time and time again, when issues came up, you seemed to be running cover for the president.
I don't think
interested.
That's true.
Well, I mean, we'll start with the Laura Trump issue that you referred. Here it is. This happened in 2020.
Joe Biden, as we all know, has worked to overcome a stutter. How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
you are
to watch somebody on stage search for
this is so
questions.
amazing.
You're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I
a
think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline.
And it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel
Laura
sorry
Trump.
for Joe Biden.
I appreciate it. I'm sure it was from a place of concern. We all believe that. Laura Trump, thank you so much.
And so there are clear lines that they just dare not cross.
The comments of Joe Biden making gaffes, saying things
known,
stupid.
To make the occasional gaffe.
You can't even go there. You can, after Donald Trump, you
Well, that's what I
cannot
want.
even say the word
I can't even say the word gaffe.
Nope.
Time to do your job. People are dying on their watch. How do people get reelected?
Saying things stupid, tripping.
This is my little sister, Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh, no, this is oh, you switched on me. This is my wife. This is my sister. They switched on me.
On Representative or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
Criticizing her about this. So that's the context for that. That I was following up on a story that had been out there months before. This is also in the context of October 2020, a very intense time. People on the Biden side are saying crazy things about Trump. People on the Trump side are saying crazy things about Biden, including Don Jr. suggesting that Joe Biden is a pedophile.
I can still see it! What could you possibly be saying to her?
Be still, my child, while I absorb your precious life source.
Those are embarrassing, those are important, but there is a difference between that and the investigative journalism that Alex and I were able to do and only able to do after the election. And
Because we all knew.
Now, with the current White House, I have some connections. With the Joe Biden White House, I had none, but you did. You did. And so while you've been in Washington 30 years, Jake, you guys, you and CNN have White House connections, but there was no effort, none to get to the bottom of this. And now for you guys to write this book like there was a cover-up, it's like there was a cover-up and there was an attempted cover-up. It could only ever work if you allowed it, if the press allowed it. Some of us tried not to, and some of us were complicit.
Should anonymous sources who talked to Tapper have spoken up about their concerns while he was in office, while he was still in office? And my other question is, why is this important to know now?
If we're going to do this, let's just stick to the facts here, okay? When there is a damaging
Jake,
report...
that's what I've been doing all along.
I'm
one
talking
of
about
us
what you just said.
didn't miss the biggest story of the century when it comes to presidential politics, and one of us did.
Okay.